Greetings, fellow makers. Welcome to Prop Live, your
Can you just search?
weekly prop and costume making Q&A session. I'm Bill. We have two very special guests this week, the Egg Sisters from Egg Sisters Cosplay. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So which one of you is which?
I'm Dana.
Yep.
Courtney.
And you guys are the tag team duo responsible for many an amazing costume. The one that really blew my mind had to be the Blackheart Reinhardt skin. I'm sure the prop tarts in the chat know which one I'm talking about, but I saw it at DragonCon for the first time last year, and it blew my mind.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm still laughing at the picture you posted of you standing next to it, and you're standing superposed with this awesome axe that you made, and then I'm slouched over, looking away, and I felt so bad I didn't pose at all.
Yeah, that was cool. That was at BlizzCon, I believe, when we got to see it out in.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
Out in its full glory.
Yep.
You were one of many Reinhardts at DragonCon, actually. That was really cool to see so many people, or I keep saying DragonCon, BlizzCon, this last year, including our buddy Chad.
Yep.
But also the voice actor, what's his name? Darren was there. He seemed pretty stoked to meet all you guys. What was that like?
That was pretty crazy. We kind of set up away from the other Reinhardts because we were having technical issues.
Uh-huh.
So we figured we missed everybody, and then all of a sudden I turn around and I hear Reinhardt.
That's awesome.
So, and we got a short little clip with him, and he's super, super nice.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. You guys, is that one, let's see, when did you finish that? Was that finished for DragonCon last year, so about a year ago?
Yeah.
Barely finished, yeah.
Barely.
Yeah.
How long of a build was that? I can't even imagine.
I don't know, we always say generically 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
but it's either we do it leisurely in 3 months or we haul ass for 3 months. And this one was hauling ass. We were still painting it on the way to DragonCon.
Oh,
so
jeez.
it was rough. It almost killed us.
Yeah.
But it was worth it, though.
But you're stronger for it now.
Yes.
You're
yes.
practically unstoppable. For those of you guys watching at home, if you haven't checked out what the Egg Sisters are working on, you can see all this stuff over on Facebook. Egg Sisters Cosplay over on Facebook. I'm checking out the giant weapon that you made for Reinhardt. It's insane. How that looks like it's at least 12 feet tall. Is that accurate?
I think it was 10.
Yeah. Oh, you're standing on a step stool in this picture.
Yeah. I think Reinhardt is 7.5 feet,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
So
I think we made it.
it's probably 10.
Yeah.
That's insane. I couldn't make something like that in my basement because it wouldn't fit.
I'm
Yeah.
thankful for the tall ceilings in here for sure. There's a lot of space in this area, my apartment, but it does come apart in pieces, thankfully as well.
Oh, that's good. Good planning. So, and I imagine too, if you got to take that anywhere, then you're gonna have to drive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either without the axe, it took 2 SUVs to move just Reinhardt. But we've been renting U-Haul trailers
Oh, jeez.
to bring him around, so.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I don't know if we're itching to do something that big again
No?
right now. It'll probably come, but
Yeah. Well, maybe instead of making something gigantic, you just make something incredibly intricate and complicated. You know, a different type of personal hell to go through.
Yeah, it actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice switching it up, you do one and you're like, okay, I'm so done with that, and do something else, and maybe we'll come back around. I don't know.
A good example too. I think this is one of the first things I saw from you guys was the Undead Rogue. This was at BlizzCon a couple years ago, if I am not mistaken.
correct. I guess our first BlizzCon was back in 2008.
I think so.
And that was our first contest and our first big con. And then after that, we kind of just fell off the wagon. until 2014, and then we always wanted to go back and do those costumes better. So this was like our second version of the Undead.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's awesome. It's covered in lights and spikes and
We're like, this is BlizzCon. We got to do everything.
Yeah, and it looks like that's the one that's hiding behind you right there. That's pretty awesome.
All creepy looking.
Excellent.
With its extra long neck.
There is something a little unsettling about a really long neck. And then what have you been working on recently that we got something here you just finished?
Bloodborne.
This looks like something from Bloodborne. Is that what it's from?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany, by the way, for collecting all these things.
Thank you, Brittany.
So this, some creature type masks and more clothing and stuff. That's one of the things I think that impresses me the most is you guys bounce around between a lot of different disciplines and do a bang up jump on all of them. So these things look pretty incredible.
Thank you again.
Yeah, we struggle because we do that. I think, we don't really become pros at any one material. We completely do a different thing each time, and then we struggle and we break everything and we ruin it. As you saw, even like just doing the alginate on Twitch, like all of it went to hell. But I mean, eventually we struggle through it and we seem to be happy in the end. But it's definitely a lot harder because we keep changing up materials.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday we'll know them all.
That's right.
I don't know.
Awesome. So we will be at BlizzCon. You guys planning on being at BlizzCon this year?
Oh.
Are you guys making anything for that?
We have plans. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then Britt left a note here about RTX Austin. Are you guys going to be at that too?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I've never even heard of it yet.
Then that note is for me because I'm going there.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I'm planning on shooting some video with my friend Brian Brushwood in Austin, Texas, and since it happens to be this weekend and RTX happens to be this weekend at the same time, then I will be there at least on Saturday. I've never been to it. It sounds like it's really cool. People are really excited. I don't know if or what costume I'm going to bring. This is all by the seat of my pants, but I'm definitely going to be in Austin, Texas.
Sweet. I have never been.
I went to Austin once for an anime convention a couple years ago. I don't feel like I got the whole experience, though. I think I'm supposed to eat more barbecue and tacos. I don't think I had enough of either of those.
Oh, now's your chance.
Redeem. Nothing but barbecue and tacos. That's it. Hey, gang, watching live, we have our prop tarts. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I see a lot of our friends,
Represent.
I see Lon in there. We saw him last weekend at Nerdtacular. I see Hey Patch, who just showed up. Awesome. TNT Cosplay Supply is there, too. They're wicked cool. If you guys are watching live, or even if you're listening or watching this later on, you can submit questions for the Q&A via our website, punishprops.com/live. So if you're watching live right now, go and send in your questions. If you have questions about any of the amazing giant or intricate costumes that the Egg Sisters have made, send those questions right in. Brittany will grab those for me, and then we'll get to answering them. And if you're listening during the week and you have any other questions, send them in anyway. We'll get to all of them. We already have a pretty good chunk of questions here, and Brittany's adding them as we go. Are you guys ready to dive in?
Yeah.
Okay. First one comes from Brittany. First one comes from Brittany because she writes the notes and she gets to take over the question area. She says, "Your stilts for Amelia look awesome. Was it challenging assembling Chaos Costumes Creature Feet Kit? And also, were the stilts fun to wear?"
It was cool. We reached out to her and said we needed them really fast, and she answered us right away and got them to us right away, and she didn't have to do that, so that was really awesome of her. Anyway, as far as assembling, I mean, it was really nice. You can get like 3 different versions of the kit, I believe. You can get just the digital instructions, so you could buy all the materials yourself, or you can get, what was it? What was the middle one? It was like, completely assembled, and then you could also get just the parts and assemble it yourself, and they each had different price ranges. So I did the one where I just got all the parts and then I put it together. I'm no like fancy woodworker, but it was certainly well explained and easy enough for me to do, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I will say that it's super easy to do. It just took me like a few hours to do it, so give yourself plenty of time to just follow the instructions properly, and then look ahead at like what materials you need. So you need like screwdriver and a drill and some things, but otherwise all the parts are labeled and it's really easy to follow. As far as wearing them, it was super fun wearing them, and it was cool because we've had a few stilts before in other costumes, and so like the first stilts we made were for Garuda, and those were like just PVC pipes, and it was basically just all the weight was on the ball of my, or the front of my feet, and just basically just balancing on tubes. And then the next one we did was Reinhardt, and those were like, I was so excited because they're just flat-footed, but really tall, but just flat-footed, so I'm like, aha, I don't have to balance on my toes. And then this one, this one you do balance like or put a lot of weight in the front of your feet, but you can completely like maneuver. You can squat, you can walk, you can stand up. So
sit down.
You can totally sit down. It's so amazing. Oh my gosh! So it was like you could do anything. Like I made a whole dinner for Dana wearing them. I'm like, dude.
That's great.
They're awesome. They're really flexible.
I love that there's a niche for that. There's a demand for foot stilts like that. I found the Etsy store, by the way, for Chaos Costumes, so we'll have a link to that in the show notes if folks listening want to go check that out.
Yeah, she does hooves too. She's got shoes with hooves and a bunch of cool stuff.
All kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, and it's, let's see, the full deluxe kit is like $115. That seems pretty reasonable to me. Awesome.
It's really well made too. So.
Yeah.
High praise from the Egg Sisters.
Highly
Yes.
recommended animal
And Courtney knows her stilts.
Yeah, you're a stilt connoisseur.
Yes.
All right, let's. Oh, thank you, Brittany, for the question. That was really great. Fearless Facade, one of our regulars, our buddy Kyle wants to know. He's currently making a mask of the Fawn from Pan's Labyrinth. How would you go about making his horns? He wants to mold and cast them, but they are a strange shape, and they look like a nightmare. They look kind of like a nightmare. Do you guys have any horn advice?
Are they like, I'm assuming, I'm trying to remember, I'm thinking they're like ram horns?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
I like the foam idea, but if you want to cast them.
Yeah, for our antlers on Amelia, we ended up just taking coat hangers and sandwiching in a bunch of layers of EVA foam and then carving them out. And that worked really well, but if you want to cast it, it's certainly going to be some interesting molds. I know, who is it? Lightning Cosplay? Mm-hmm. I think she's got a whole book on casting and making horns.
It might be in German. I don't know if she released it.
I don't know, but she has done those intricate molds, so maybe she would have at least an idea.
Something like that, we would probably just sculpt it and then have molding day and just realize how screwed we are and make a big mess of it and then repair it a lot and somehow try to make horns. So I couldn't tell you like off the top of our heads like how to do it right here and then. You'd have to really think about how you would put your mold together so you don't have air bubbles and so that you can pull it apart, which is usually the biggest thing. Like the hands we did, some of them one had to be a 2-part mold and one had to be 3 because I had a thumb and the angle of all the fingers. You have to make sure that you're able to release the mold out of it. So I think it's figuring out how many parts or ways you want to break up your mold. But honestly, I think Punish Props over here is a much better expert at mold making because we watched their tutorial to make our mask. So you should answer that question, not us.
Yeah, I haven't done. I know what you mean. The shape of the horn or the form of the horn kind of doubles back on itself. So the parting line for a 2-part mold would be kind of like a corkscrew. That doesn't mean it's impossible, but I've never done a mold quite like that before. I'm with you guys. I would probably make it out of foam or even Worbla, and I would just because you only need one of each, and you can't make one horn, mold it, and cast this. It's not mirrored. Or it is mirrored. You wouldn't be able to do one and do the other one. So I would probably make both of them from scratch, using some sort of armature and foam or Worbla. I've got the ebook up here from Lightning Cosplay called Horns and Headdresses. That's probably worth checking out. And also, our buddy Evil Ted has some tutorials on making horns as well as some patterns. So those might help you get close, and then you can just tweak it that extra step to finish it off.
Oh yeah, it does come in English. It was the she had a mold making one too.
Yeah,
Sure
she's got some cool stuff.
Yeah, she does.
Yep.
She does it too.
So yeah, the answer to how to mold those horns is to not mold those horns. Unless you're adventurous, there's got to be a way to do it. In fact, if you do give it a try, let us know. I'd love to see how it turns out. Thank you, Fearless Facade. Another one of our buddies here, Sam, over at Bio Cosplay. He says...
Oh, Sam.
He says, hey
At
there...
Bio Cosplay.
He says, hey there, omelet siblings. Sam says he's a big fan of your work. He says, do each of you have aspects of crafting that you are more well-versed in, or are you both proficient at all of them? So does each one of you specialize, or is it a team effort on everything?
I don't know. I'd say we each have things that we probably enjoy more, and we pick each other up on the things that we don't want to do. And I don't know. We
probably dabble in each other's work the whole way through. But Dana, I think, is a master sculptor. I'm trying to learn and get better, and I do like it, but she's so much better at sculpting than I am, for sure. So I definitely look up to her, and I have her check on my work and everything, and be like, Dana, how's it look? How do I do this?
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have someone you look up to be able right there to show you how to do everything.
What I'll say from my experience having a partner to work on projects with is just having a second pair of eyes. Like, I've done this before, where I literally bring something over to Brittany, and I'm like, be honest, does this look terrible? Because, like, when you're waist deep in a project and you tend to lose sight of the big picture, or just, like, get too caught up in the minutia, be like, hey, second opinion, does this look terrible? No, it looks fine. All right, great, I'll keep going.
Yeah, or you like get stuck on something and the solution's there and it's probably really simple, but you're like thinking of all the hardest ways to do it.
Yeah. I tend to think that way too. I'm like, I have a really complicated tool I could use to solve this problem. And when I explain it out loud, Brittany will be like, well, why don't you just do it the simplest way? I'm like, oh, it's probably a lot faster and better.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Sam. Another guy I hope I see over at Dragon Con this year. Let's keep moving on. Someone named Pumpkin wants to know. I know you usually make molds for your 3D printed bucks, so I guess this is for me. And vacuum form on top of plaster castings. But actually, do you guys do much in 3D printing? Nope.
We have not tried.
Okay,
don't know
cool.
much about it.
All right, I'll handle this one. He's wondering if I can just clean up a print and vacuum form straight from that. Is there a print material for some finishing technique I could use to make the 3D print strong enough? Okay, I've done this before. And the thing is, PLA especially has a very low melting temperature. That temperature is lower than the temperature you need to heat up your plastic for vacuum forming. ABS might be better. It's a higher melt temperature. But generally what's going to happen is you heat up a piece of plastic, you smush it over your 3D print, you pull the vacuum, and it will crush your 3D print. It will melt it and crush it. Now, that being said, Habiteer Workshop in the chat is saying he uses ABS and uses a high infill. So if you use the infill percentage like 50% or higher, there'll be less gaps of air inside of the 3D print that will heat up and compress when you do your vacuum forming. So, personally, I would make an alginate mold of my piece, and then I would make a hydrocal casting of that piece, and I would use that as my vacuum form buck, especially if I'm going to make a lot of them. That's what I would do. But, like I said, Habiteer Workshop says that he makes visors all the time from ABS, specifically ABS 3D prints, with a high infill. So, very good. But I will say there's a moment when you try and vacuum form. I tried to vacuum form a thing. and I pulled it off, and it was just destroyed.
I want to try that someday so bad.
Yeah. Thank you, Pumpkin. Good question. Let's keep moving on here. Ooh, this is a good one. Bill Helm Creations wants to know, what is a skill that you're looking to master? Something you're not good at yet, but you want to get good at it. Or I'm going to add perhaps a new tool that you would then have to learn how to use.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Tools, oh man, tons of tools probably, but we suck at engineering things.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you, I don't know, what's a good example of something like, you want the spider thing?
Yeah, we had an idea to make this costume. It's a character from the comic Saga, and it's this lady. It's like a woman's torso, but she has a huge spider body with human arms.
Stalk.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, that'd be so awesome. But then we wanted to make like movable limbs, and we were like, oh, pulley systems, hydraulics. Oh God. So
Yeah.
we'd like to be able to do some kind of like engineering that we could make stuff move, like theatrical. But
That's definitely something we're not strong at. We would like to get better at doing that. Kind of holds us back sometimes when we have weird ideas.
Yeah, the challenge I find with projects like that is you end up having to do a lot of prototyping. And when you're working on a cosplay that needs to get done for a convention, you don't necessarily have enough time to build something more than once. So
yeah, we got as far as like cutting apart a Barbie doll and making popsicle stick legs, and we're like, let's just move on. I think that's what happened. That's when we decided to do Reinhardt, because that was so much easier.
I had to hide that because my grandpa was coming over and I didn't want to explain to him what that was.
I love that Reinhardt was your easier choice.
Yeah.
We'll
It
just
seemed
do
like a
something
good
simple.
idea.
We'll do something simple like Reinhardt.
Yeah.
I don't think we knew we could do Reinhardt until it was done.
Mhm.
We were not sure.
Aim high.
There you
Let's
go.
for it.
I'll tell you what, I got my hands on a very small metal lathe, and I haven't really had a chance to use it yet, but I have it, so I'm excited to jump at a project that would use it, because I'm ready to go. It's like,
That sounds cool.
I got it all, I tweaked it, got it all dialed in, I got some new tooling for it, ready to go. I'm just looking around for a project. So
It's always like that. It's like when you don't have something going on, you have all these ideas of stuff you want to do, but then when you're ready to do it, you can't think of anything.
Yeah, I know, right? I have metal. I don't know. I mean, I just use it to like sharpen pencils or something. All right, thank you, Bill Helm Creations. Good question. No Spaceship wants to know about Poly Latex 60 and brushing on rubber cement paint. And he liked it a lot. When he got back from the convention, he noticed that the Sharpie lines were starting to come through the areas where it was just tinted latex. So I decided to try airbrushing with rubber cement paint. I will point out that my Lord Shaxx costume has Sharpie lines that came up through the latex. Something I didn't realize until it was done. Apparently, Sharpie will soak through latex. Who knew? Let's see. So he's having trouble with the airbrushing rubber cement paint. I will be honest, I have not had much success with that either. He's talking about trying different consistencies of the mixture, your thinner, your rubber cement, and your oil paint. And I tinker with that for a little bit. But I didn't quite get it to work. Now, Frank Ippolito does have a video where he shows how to do that when he was painting a latex mask. We'll see if we can find a link to that and leave it in the show notes. But I really think it's a matter of just tinkering with your ratios. The idea is most of your mixture is your thinner, and then you use that to thin down the rubber cement, and then you use just enough pigment so that it's the color that you want. When I did it, it ended up coming out kind of chalky. So I'm wondering if perhaps I thinned it too much, or I put in too much pigment. I don't know. So it sounds like No Spaceship has done a lot of experimenting, and unfortunately, you may have to keep experimenting. So there you go. Have you guys ever done anything with latex rubber?
I guess as far as painting, no.
Mm-hmm.
The monster hands we made for our last Bloodborne costume, those were latex.
Monster Maker latex, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like is it called? It's not slush casting. It's
Slip casting?
slip casting, maybe, where you kind of like slush it around and then let it drip out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that's
Words.
called. Slush it around and tip it over. That's the technical term.
Yeah.
Let it drip out all over your floor.
And what did you use to paint it?
We tinted the latex. It's from Monster Makers. They have latex paint and then, or latex tint, and then for painting it, we just mixed some of that tint with latex and kind of like sponge it on, and then did some splatter. And it seemed to work okay.
Oh, look at that. They have a whole latex colorants thing.
Yeah.
That's great. I will say with Poly Latex 60, which I like a lot, you can just dump acrylic paints in there. So I don't know what the difference is. Perhaps this is just the straight up pigment. So that's kind of cool. Awesome. All right. Well, good luck. No spaceship. Sorry, I couldn't help you out a little bit more there. But go watch that video that Frank did where he was painting a latex mask. He did some airbrushing in that one. All right. Riley has a question. I just printed, assembled, and smoothed out the last word, hand cannon from Destiny. It has a lot of small nooks and crannies that need to be painted gold while the surrounding areas are black. What order should I paint the layers in, and how do you recommend I mask it off? Do you guys have a preferred method for like what layers of paint go down first with different colors and intricate designs?
I always go dark and then go lighter from there. I don't know. As far as like all the detail and masking, we end up hand painting a lot of our stuff.
Yep.
So I don't know how intricate it is. I'm not familiar with the item.
It's it's like a text almost. It's like an embossed text on the side of the gun.
Oh, well then I would do the base color and then maybe make some kind of stencil or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, so I would say too, it really depends on whether or not that detail, that embossed, is actually embossed on the side of the gun, or if it's just a flat surface and you would have to hand paint or stencil on the design. Because if it's actually embossed, you could paint it all the dark color first and then kind of just graze the top of it with a gold paint to get those sort of higher areas colored. That'd be kind of cool. But if it's just flat, then you're going to want to stencil it. So, there you go. Paint it by hand for many, many hours. I have my vinyl cutter here, so I would totally use that to make a stencil. That's how I would do it. Because this thing that looks like some tedious work right there. All right, good luck, Riley.
That's awesome.
We've got Crosswind Cosplay coming in with a question. A couple of questions, actually. I'm working on Captain Cold's gun, which is covered in small round bolt heads. I'm using Plasti Dip to spray seal the gun, but I don't want the Plasti Dip texture on the bolts. I'm using little domed self-stick pearl gems as my bolt heads, but I'm open to other suggestions. Will I have trouble attaching the gems to the surface after coating it with Plasti Dip, or am I better off masking the bolts than sealing? Another order of operations question.
Yeah,
here.
we're always like, the chicken or the egg? What do we do?
Yeah.
If you do it one way, then there's something else wrong. But trying to think.
It's Plasti Dip's gonna go over everything? Is that
Yeah.
what he said?
Yep.
I mean,
He's just worried about the texture from the Plasti Dip getting out, specifically on those bolt heads.
You can mask off the bolt heads and put them on first, and then you get a good glue, and then no texture.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't try and glue those to the Plasti Dip. Seems like that might peel off. So yeah, masking the bolt head sounds pretty good. Something else too, I've done this before. Depending on what the bolts are, if you use actual bolts, after you've painted it, you can just poke a hole in the foam and then just hot glue the bolt right in there, and then it's not going anywhere. So if you just use real hardware, you can totally do that. I've done that before. These look like, I'm looking at a picture right now. They look like the security bolt, hex bolts with little dimple in the middle. Yeah. So there you go. I don't know if you guys do you ever use just like real screws or screw heads in props and costumes? Whenever I can, I like to do that.
No.
We could find anything that actually worked for what we wanted, we totally would. But.
Yeah.
Are all of Reinhardt's fittings custom made? Are they all space age fittings?
It's a lot of just like cutting the shape into the foam and then heating it up to get the indent. That was like our first time working with EVA foam to that extent, so we learned a lot.
Yeah.
But bolts would be much easier.
I know, right? Cool. That's what I think when I'm building a prop from a sci-fi game or something, and they're like, here's some space age screw head. I'm like, why would they make screws different in the future? They work just fine. All right. Thank you for the question. Oh, we got another one here from Crosswinds. What suggestions do you have for attaching magnets to foam props? I need to create a few removable covers for the cold gun, and I'm building to access the batteries, pack, and LEDs. Do you guys? I imagine you guys probably put some magnets somewhere on your costumes. Is that true?
Not that soon, but
no. It's on our idea box of things to do, but we have not done it yet.
We use a lot of Velcro.
Yeah, Velcro.
Do you ever use snaps? I like snaps.
I like snaps.
I like snaps.
I guess we normally, if it's going in foam, I mean, we usually attach stuff with probably a hot glue, or sometimes we could tack it with some like thread, but that's kind of a sometimes case that you could use that. I don't know what else could we attach stuff with. E6000.
Attaching things is always the last thing that we do, and we kind of just jerry-rig it. But D-rings and webbing straps, Velcro, buckles. But
cool. So for magnets, you can actually get neodymium magnets at Harbor Freight now. It's kind of crazy. They're just little like 1/4-inch sized ones. Hobby stores have a lot of them too. I found you can just super glue them right into foam, and they work, and they'll stick just fine. So yeah, super glue. Who'd have thought? That's my go-to though. Like if I don't know what glue to use, I'm like, well, let's try super glue first. Usually works. Thank you, Crosswinds Cosplay, for the questions. We got another one here from Connor Cosplay. What is your preferred type of material for for costumes? It's been a long day.
I don't know. We like to do everything.
Yep.
I guess there's preference and there's what's best for what we're making it for, you know? I don't know. I mean, foam is really nice.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm biased, but I mean,
it's just really nice and lightweight. I don't know, man.
What do you got there?
Drumming the foam is the best.
Yeah.
Hey.
You guys use a lot of Worbla?
We did before. Like the Undead has a lot of Worbla on it, but it's just very expensive and heavy. And it seems now that there's all this stuff, all this teachings of the foam, you can get a lot of the same looks you would with the Worbla with the foam, and it's a little bit flexible, a lot more lightweight, a lot cheaper. So it has its uses for sure.
This has been the foam hour with Bill and the Egg Sisters. I like foam too. Oh, did I miss a question? Nope, I didn't. We're good. Yeah, foam is great. Worbla's really great. It really depends on like how much space you have, what tools you have available to you, and what materials you have available to you. So yeah. So don't just pick a material just because Bill thinks it's awesome and he wrote a book about it. But that's a good reason to. Thank you, Connor. Let's get this next one here from Iron Mark Props. What's your impression about Overwatch's new character, Doomfist?
Oh,
I don't
This
know.
is submitted today.
There's a new character. I didn't even know about this.
yeah, he's really cool looking. I haven't played it yet. I mean, we already had someone comment like for Blizzard. I don't know what we posted something like make Doomfist, and I'm like, I don't know how I can become Doomfist. That's awesome.
It's a dude with a giant arm. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, boy, that would be a really fun technical challenge right there.
Courtney's always wanted to make a big muscle suit.
Yeah?
I wanna make a muscle
She
suit.
wants to be Iron Bull from Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
That guy's awesome.
That's great. I don't think I will be building Doomfist, but it's just sort of like that build, like that arm. I'm like, I can't wait to see someone else build it.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet someone I know has already started today. Sure. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We got another one here from Iron Mark. Let's see. Do you have recommendations for how to mold Asuka's cat helmet visor? Oh, this is from Neon Genesis. Oh. That's going to be a tricky one. So basically, it's a helmet that covers the back of the head, and the front of it is all visor. Which is the part that's challenging. Have you guys done any visors?
We've done some molded plastic, and normally what we would do is dye it through some complicated processes of boiling water and putting in poly dye. But then after you have that, then it's a matter of having something that you can heat it up over to get the shape. But I mean, I don't have a ton of experience doing that, so I don't know if you have a better recommendation. There's plenty of people that have made a lot of cool face shields.
Yeah.
That thing's huge.
It looks to me a lot like Tali from Mass Effect, a lot like her helmet. And my old shopmate Will over at WM Armory built a Tali helmet, so it's kind of like that. What I think he did was he made a mold of the Tali helmet so he could cast a copy of it, and the inside part the visor part was sculpted right into it. He took a casting of the front of the helmet and then kind of re-sculpted that to make the visor, made a mold of that, cast it in a hydrocal to make the vacuum form buck. So he basically ended up with two molds, one to slush cast urethane resin in to make the helmet, and then a vacuum form buck to vacuum form. He used a purple acrylic plastic that would get vacuum formed over that to make the visor, so then you have the two pieces. It's a highly technical process, very challenging, but that's basically the way you would do it. You'd have to make it twice. But once you have the mold of the helmet done, you can use that to make the mold, or the vacuum form pattern for the visor. I will try and find a link to, I don't know if he had a write-up on that build, but I'm going to look on his website right now. Tally, because that's the perfect example. Yeah, so WMArmory.com. He has an article on how he remastered it, because I know he was that's a product he was selling those. He doesn't have a write-up on how he made it. Oh darn. But yeah, once you have the thing molded or modeled, you can mold it and cast it and make copies to make your visor. So good luck. That's a really complicated build, or a really ambitious build. But
Looks awesome.
You can do it, Iron Mark. I believe in you. And thanks for the question. Let's grab another one here from Joey. If you could make a tool, what would it be? It could be anything, realistic or not. Oh. Does a lightsaber count as a tool? I think it does. Or a sonic screwdriver, right? That's a tool.
Oh, I know we've come up with things when we're working. Like, wouldn't it be great if this is invented? But
Yeah. I don't know.
You know what I want is I want a tripod. It wouldn't even be technically a tripod, but it would be a thing for my camera that could hover, right? So that when I'm working and filming, it could just follow me and just always be right here. So,
Get a droid?
yeah, a flying camera droid. That's what I want. Or a little robot just to hold stuff in place for me. Like a Roomba that sits on your bench, and like if you need to hold something a certain angle, it's got a little pincer arm that can hold it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, but small, so I'm not tripping over it all the time.
And it occasionally encourages you.
Yeah.
Positive statements.
Keep up the great work. You're doing awesome.
Exactly.
Here's a soda. I got you a drink. That would be really great. So, whatever that... Or just R2-D2, like, as a helper in the shop. That'd be pretty awesome. Any other... You guys have any other space age tool helping ideas?
I want a cordless heat gun. I don't know if those exist or not, but I always, like, you pick up the gun, you put it down. You pick it up, put it down, and by the end, the cord's like this. And a big tangled mess.
Oh my goodness,
But
I don't think that exists. Cordless embossing heat gun. Wait, what?
What does it?
Oh, that's crap. This is some stupid little toy.
It's for, like, scrapbooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is I think that heat guns use all 120 volts that come out of the wall.
Yeah.
You gotta... Yeah.
But we're talking about future imaginary tools, so I guess...
Cordless heat... I love how it's, like, not even a really cool... it's just like, I just want a heat gun that doesn't have a cord on it.
Yeah.
I want the thing that already exists, just battery-powered. What else would be better battery-powered? I don't know. I have to think more about that. How about an air gun? Like an air compressor? Only, like, compact. You can just carry around. So you don't have to have the compressor going with you. I bet they could make that. There we go. Everything will be... In the future, all tools will be cordless.
And they don't have weird shaped bolts.
Yeah.
They just haven't figured out the bolting system yet.
They haven't invented the bolts yet, that's why.
Or every bolt on it is a different size.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why when weapon designers for video games, they'll make all the fittings different sizes so it looks interesting. But realistically, if I have to fix that thing in the field, I want one IKEA Allen wrench. That's it. Take the whole thing apart. The same, which by the way, I have IKEA furniture. My desk and this is IKEA, that's IKEA. So I probably have like 8 of those Allen wrenches already. I should be able to take apart my space gun with that. All right. Thanks, Joey. That was a fun question. Let's grab one. Oh, Hey Patch sent us a question. Hey Patch says, how do you keep your workshop or workspace clean and tidy? I have low expectations. That's how I keep it tidy. My bar for tidy is pretty low. He says, what do you do with your EVA foam cutoffs and scraps? He has buckets of them, and it seems a shame to throw them out. So what do you guys do? From here, this camera angle, it looks pretty tidy in there. Is that representative?
This is our nice wall.
Yeah, this is the we can show you section. It's not too bad right now. It gets pretty bad. You know, I think everybody's workspace is getting really bad. Like the last 2 weeks before the con, it's just madness. But we were watching a stream of Evil Ted, and he said that his rule was if you have a scrap of foam or anything that's smaller than your hand, then throw it out.
Yeah.
So we've committed to that since then. It seems to help.
That's a good policy. I have you know what I did? I had a bin, a fairly big bin, and all my scraps would go in there. And when it got full, I would pick out all the smallest scraps and throw them away. So I'm only allowed, like, this much scraps. And when it's full, I have to go through it and throw it away. Otherwise, it gets to be a real problem. Do you guys have a lot of dust? Is dust an issue in your shop?
I've been hunting for a dust collector. I haven't quite committed to buying one yet, but holy crap, did I need one when we made Reinhardt. So much dust still. That was insane.
Yeah.
I have a dust collector, and it's a sort of thing where you need to set it up in a way that you know you'll use it, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm just sanding this one thing. It'll just take a minute. I'm not going to bother trying. It's like, no, you have to have like a sanding station with the dust collecting hose right there, and then so I go over to that area to sand the things. I'll turn it on. You really do have to plan it in a way that you'll actually use it.
That's so true.
Yeah, which I don't do. So
No. You make a mess, then you move over, make another mess, and then you move over.
Until the entire shop is messy, then you.
Yes, then you have to deal with it. I
have to deal with it. Yeah.
You can't find anything. That's our problem. We aren't organized enough so that like we have stuff and we can't find anything. It's like I just set it down. Where is it? Do we have any glue? I don't know where the glue is. I don't know where my pen is.
I do. Where is it? I have one right here. Yeah. Just tape measures, right? Tape measures. I bought. These were like $4. I bought a couple more of these, and I just left them all around the shop, just in strategic locations. I just put tape measures everywhere. But then when I need a tape measure, I'm like, how can I not find a tape measure? I have like 8 of these things. Why aren't they? Why aren't they here? But here, this one lives here in the office, so I always have one in the office. And there's at least 3 or 4 more in the shop, just cause. But like pens, pencils, Sharpies, I own hundreds of Sharpies, hundreds. I don't know where any of them are.
Exactly. It is so true.
Or you find the one and it's already dead.
Yeah. Yeah. The silver Sharpies, I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying crappy silver Sharpies, but those things seem to die pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. Nature of the beast.
Yep. Thank you. Hey, Patch. Let's grab another one here from Jamal. Jamal is curious if Reinhardt was made from a Pepakura template.
He was not.
Nope.
Someone did give us the files for Pepakura, and I looked at it, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to transfer all of these pieces to paper and break them apart onto sheets to print them out. So we're like, we just use them as like another 3D model to look at, but we still did the process of tracing it in Illustrator, printing it out, and then trying to make it 3D again in paper. A lot of the stuff was just, like the whole beak was made with just straight up paper. We're just like, let's just slap this on and then cut away until we have some sort of shape, and then we transfer it to foam. So.
There you go. Hey, whatever works. I will occasionally use Pepakura, although to be honest, now that I do, I have my 3D printers. If there's anything that's only this yay big, I'll just 3D print it. Because once I have that 3D model, I'm like, well, I'll just 3D print it. But for big things like helmets, I haven't done anything big like Reinhardt, obviously. But for helmets and stuff, I pattern that stuff the good old-fashioned way, using paper, like you guys were saying.
Lots of paper, for sure.
Yeah. I will say, too, like, with Pepakura, if you don't already have access to good files, the process of like making your own files could take just as long as just jamming it out in foam. So usually I'll tell people, you'll end up building a lot of the pieces twice out of foam, but foam is cheap. So, just start cutting foam apart, gluing it together, and fine-tuning until it gets to at least close to where you want it to go. Awesome. Well, that is it for all of the questions, unless any more are going to get thrown our way. Why don't we talk a little bit about what you guys are working on next? What's the next convention you'll be going to?
BlizzCon.
Yeah? Oh, we won't see you at Dragon Con this year?
No. We have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
We weren't going to go to BlizzCon last year. We're going to go to Dragon Con this year. And then we did both.
Yeah,
and
like you did.
It's just a lot of money. So we know we really like BlizzCon, so we just planned for it this year.
Well, darn, I'll have to wait a couple more months to hang out with you guys. I'll go to both because I'm a crazy person. I'm going to Texas tomorrow for some reason.
Yeah, well, it sounds awesome.
It does.
Really cool.
It does sound really fun. Evil Ted is in the chat. He's very excited about BlizzCon. So good. We'll all hang
Ted.
out. Yeah.
Yes.
And do you guys have something big planned for BlizzCon?
We are doing Necromancer.
Oh.
And the Tregul set, the blood set. It's a big red skeleton, creepy blood thing.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of that on your Facebook page. There it is. All right, let's bring this picture up. That looks crazy. Wow. Now, are you guys going to design that so one of you could fit in it, or is it the sort of thing that you think both of you could swap in and out of?
It's probably just. I think I'm going to be the wearer this time.
Yeah.
But.
Yep.
I'll be honest right now that I would be really stoked to not have to put that on, huh?
I'm kind of excited to be handler this year.
Yeah, I know, right? You could sit there sipping water and be like, "Hey, I made that."
Yeah, I don't know. Making things comfortable certainly is not something we've mastered yet. But
Gosh. Need to get better at that for sure.
It's got to look cool first.
It does, yeah. That is the cosplay priority. It does have to look cool. Well, awesome. I am very excited to see you guys at BlizzCon. Hopefully I'll have something new for BlizzCon. We'll see. I'm not promising anything yet. It's hard to promise that I'm going to make stuff when I'm suddenly going to Texas. So
Anything could happen.
Yes. Speaking of stuff that I'm doing soon, I have a prop 3D video coming up tomorrow. We just kicked off the new season of prop 3D videos. I made the Nuka-Cola Thirst Zapper with our friend cosplayer Allie Williams while I was down in LA. So that video is going up tomorrow. Unless you're listening to this on Friday, then it's coming up today. Hooray! So look forward to that. Also, if you guys are looking for a good time, I 3D modeled the entire gun in Fusion 360, and I recorded all of it. And I put that video, it's going to be up on our second channel. So 2.5 hours of build 3D modeling, start to finish. So if that's your jam, you want to see how I made it, you can watch that. That's
awesome.
It's all coming out tomorrow. That's it for today on Prop Live. Thank you, Prop Darts, for hanging out with us and sending us awesome questions. You guys are the best. I believe I saw Core Geek in there, hanging out, being a goofball. And thank you two for hanging out with us for the last hour.
Well, thanks for asking us to do this.
We're so honored. Like, we're like, oh my god, they're
Where should everyone go to check out what you guys are working on?
We try to get on everything. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram is probably the best.
Awesome. I know I follow you. Actually, I think I follow you on both of those as well. But it's great. Awesome following you guys, checking out what you're working on coming out. And I am very excited to see you guys at BlizzCon.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
It was really cool. Super pumped. So thank you.
You're welcome. That's all we have for Prop Live this week. Thank you, everyone, for listening and or watching. And we will see you all next week. I'm pretty sure we'll have another episode next week. Unless I go to another state for some reason. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye.